I think it's fair to say that that they're driven by the demand that comes from the Pentagon, right? So when you look at their long-range missile capabilities, air defense, all of those things, it's being driven by one customer, and that is the U.S. government, and they're backed by the contracts that they end up getting awarded at that time.
If the government were to take stakes in defense contractors like Lockheed Martin, how might this reshape the economics of the defense industry, and how will it affect R&D investment to profit margins?
Well, I think that one of the things you really have to look at is the way that the market's set up for the DoD already is something that is already a long pole in the tent, right? You look at things that they call the valley of death to be able to survive the market, and that's why you see a lot of the defense primes. They have the money necessary to be able to say, I have this capability. 2 years when Congress gives me the money for it, I'll be able to put it towards that defense contractor. If you put something in like this, you're going to start to politicize part of that market competition. You're going to start to run into some problems where you're looking at there's normally like 19 checks and balances within the acquisition program in the DoD that allows to make sure that there's no conflict of interest, and you're going to potentially run into some of that. I see that it would work well in areas where the defense industrial base, like critical minerals and shipbuilding and potentially even munitions production, where it would make sense. But that's not specific to a company, right? You know, MP Minerals was one of the ones that started this from a critical minerals perspective. But you're seeing that it's trying to focus on a specific area in which the industry is harder to invest in. But areas where there's plenty of competition, like long-range munitions and ground vehicles and fighter jets. Those are some of the areas where I think the market already competes well in that, and I don't think that getting involved in that would play well for the market.
What kind of influence would government gain on company strategy and governance by holding significant stakes, and how do you think this will affect perhaps management decision making?
Can you say that again? Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
How do you think government owning a significant stake will affect decision-making in the company, or just the company's strategy in general?
Well, I think both, right? If you look at how you're actually setting it up, if you have that government stake in that, then you're obviously going to have an inside view of what's going on. So I think that plays a piece of it. I think from the government decision perspective is one of the risks that you need to worry about is when you look at a program that may not be going well, right? In the current construct, if you look at something like the Future Attack Reconnaissance Aircraft, something like that, right? The Army came in and said, this isn't a good investment. We're going to go in a different direction. It's built to be able to cut that tie. But if the government owns 10%, are they going to be even willing to do that? And who actually makes that cut? Where is the definition? Where is the legal definition that's going to come in to say, as Mr. Lutnick talked about today, was where is America adding fundamental value to your business? That specific statement. Okay, well then most of the areas within the defense capacity somewhat falls within that, right? So it would have to be a clearly defined thing in order for the market to understand where to go from there.